Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun.
Good morning, everybody. It is Wednesday, the 10th. No, the 7th. The 10 is the month. And the stimulus deal is dead. Donald Trump yesterday tweeting that he has instructed his negotiators to stop negotiating with the Democrats and that they're not going to do the larger stimulus deal that they've been trying to put together. He has said that he will sign other one-off bills, such as sending out stimulus checks or support for airlines. But a broader stimulus deal is dead. Yesterday, oh my gosh. Let me give you a tip here, guys. Let me give you a big tip. Don't trade this with live money. This is such a mess. Oh my gosh. Charts. Okay, so here's the move. We lost a full percent off of that, but it is retracing. Why is it retracing? Well, it may just be a bear flag, but we should have some caution on this. Two things I want to point out. First of all, Donald Trump wouldn't come out and say that if he didn't have some sort of a backup plan. There could be more executive orders that he might be planning. Number two, this means that assuming Democrats sweep the House, sweep the Senate, this could mean that a larger stimulus deal is coming down the pipe. Because the Democrats wanted to do $4 trillion, right? $4 trillion is so much. Oh my gosh. Remember when we did the first one and we were like, it's going to be $1 trillion? What? And we thought that was crazy? Yeah. Anyways, treasuries, of course, popped up hardcore on the move and have since retraced back down. So the treasuries still seem to be thinking that Joe Biden is going to win and that they're going to have to issue more treasuries, and that's why they're pushing them down. Today, in the 10-year, we've got an auction, so this is going to be a key day for the 10-year to see what they do at the auction. All right? By the way, we come over here, we can see like they flattened a bit, and now they're steepening again, right? In the knob, 2s and 10s not as strong. Okay, 2s and 10s just flattening overall. Oil also ended up taking a dive, and there's kind of this issues because they've got a lot of going on, both supply side and demand side right now. So oil is just, not my area. I don't know what it's doing, but it's all over the place. Gold took a huge hit off of the news, and I mean a huge hit. Woo! Good $50 off of that thing. Pretty brutal move. A lot of people, why is gold down? Well, I keep telling you. Copper, on the other hand, they did take a dip, but it is since rising. I don't know why, but I suppose that is a good sign. But overall, I would still be in favor of the short side, and here's why. Even if we do get a $4 trillion stimulus bill, it is not going to happen until like February. That is a long time. I can imagine how much damage is going to happen to the economy in the meantime. I mean, some of these companies really do need that stimulus. So, yeah. It's a problem, I think. By the way, I got this like my histogram on this one, and like I don't. We'll see when it goes live. You probably get more flips, but right now it kind of looks kind of useless, doesn't it? Works way better on a different time frame chart. Here's the basic. You can see in the lower left, way better. I can actually see the large orders stepping in kind of at the top too. Okay, now one other thing that we need to point out, I want to reiterate, we do have a 10-year auction today. We also have Fed notes coming out. Now, I kind of think that the Fed notes are kind of going to be not that interesting because the speakers have said so much since then. I really don't think that the notes are going to give us a whole lot of color that we didn't already have. And any that it will give us is likely to be outdated. But it's still a thing, so that's going to make it hard because that's like the only real news driving us here. So it's just going to be people trying to price in that there's not going to be the stimulus. So it could be, how do we say? It could be a slog, right? Oh, one last thing is the dollar. The dollar took a huge spike up on that. So that's how are we doing? How are you guys doing today? Got the text to speech. Click here. Okay, so we got that on. We'll move over to Twitter. Li Shan Shao, you guys want to see something weird? Check out these massive crowds as hundreds of millions of people traveled across China during Golden Week. Every city in China is now designated low risk as far as the virus is concerned. Wow, that's interesting. Donald Trump retweeting Laura Ingraham saying, "Your future under Biden, rolling lockdowns will become the norm in Wales." Future. Oh, he actually asked me how I was doing that. Okay.
Rob Farley says morning all.
Good morning. How are you? Oh man, how do I say this?
Uzi Knesset says SLLLU morning.
No, I'm going to message him.
Eric McDermott says good morning. Your 10-year, isn't it at all-time highs? If so, do feel more room to run or a potential short? 0.10 years rate control mortgage rate mostly not. So mortgage rate all-time lows too. Thoughts?
So yeah, I was curious about that myself because saw that story on CNBC saying that record low yields was creating a surge in mortgage, um, refinancing and so forth. I think that article was maybe a little bit delayed because if you come over here and you look at our chart, you know, um, yeah, we were record lows just a week or two ago, but we're at the bottom of the range. The interest rates are rising, and despite the huge hit to the market, the interest rates are still going hot. Probably because they really do expect the Democrats to throw out a lot of stimulus and push rates up. So, and we've got a 10-year auction today, which is going to tell us a lot. I'm, you know, if that auction comes in and that auction is bad, that's a bad omen.
Eric McDermott says if have job or money, credit too. Great time for a 15 years. Eric McDermott says loan that is.
Nah, I'm just thinking. I'm just talking to myself here. I'm thinking to myself about it. I was just like, man, we got this thing this cost inventory basis is just, I think, amazing. And
Eric
I
McDermott
kind
says
of,
except New York or California where people are escaping. As usual, location key. Your strategy on 10-year today.
well, so here on the 10-year, I'm going to be looking for some icebergs, and we might try some one tickers here. Okay, well that is the end of that. I came in and I just said, well, what if we just go short? Well, clearly they're going to retrace it. I really think that this Joe Biden is going to win trade is a lot stronger and more influential than people maybe anticipate. Yeah. That's not bad. Anyways, I was just thinking about how we got this indicator and it's really great, and I kind of want to just shut up about it and trade it. Like honestly, I do. Um, like even telling you guys about it, I feel kind of uncomfortable about it because I feel like it's something that is valuable and um, you know. But the issue is that yes, I can take advantage of it and I can trade it, but because I have such a small account, not making enough off of it to really do what we need to do to really truly capitalize on it. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I just need to give in and build it under Bookmap. That might be a way to do it. Mm, 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 mm. Well, the treasuries themselves seem awfully slow, don't they? You can see here the 39 at 24. So if I were to put an order there, I think the chances of me getting filled on that are pretty low. Does that mean that I should sell into 23 half? I'm not so sure. Like, cause again, I'm more interested in if I can get a backtick. Well, let's try this. I think this is really risky, but we're gonna try it because we are like way overdone on the downside here. Oh no, they did. They upticked it. Well, 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 well.
Live Action says Eric funny story. Friend of mine needed U-Haul and Cali owner told him he was out of them, no one brings them back.
All right, an uptick again, huh? Hmm. You know, this could flip back up really hard. What do you think, Uzi? I think I kind of missed the trade, but this could let's load in the levels and everything. We should do that in the E-mini too.
Uzi Knesset says given the potential for tweet chaos, yeah, I wouldn't rule it out, lol.
I have to say when I was so yesterday they were fixing my power. I remember we had that windstorm and apparently there was some leftover electrical damage that they had to shut off the power to our street. So it was like just our street. They turned the power off to fix this thing. So I wasn't able to watch the market when it happened. But when I came back, the thing that is when we left is like they were going long. It was a range bound day and they were breaking out long, which in my opinion didn't really make a whole lot of sense. Like there wasn't a real reason for it. It just looked like trend following, and I thought there was a really high probability that it was kind of this SoftBank trying to push people around nonsense again. And by the way, if SoftBank lost a lot of money, I sure hope so. I sure hope they lost a lot of money yesterday. Anyways, so when the news came out and flushed everybody, I honestly laughed about it because everybody was long. They didn't really have a real true reason to be long, and they got screwed as hard as you can be screwed.
Uzi Knesset says same here, lol.
It was really quite astounding. And the thing that was funny about it was trying to watch all of the retail traders trying to figure out what's going on and like justify it. Like, you know, oh, here's this thing on this chart actually that I missed that kind of showed that was about to happen and yada yada yada. And I just it's funny. It's Futures Trader. That's why I was talking to Futures Trader 71 because he was saying that everybody is trying to show that they're prognosticating it. I mean, come on. Up until that point, it was like, yeah, that you guys have all been taking that long because it's a chart pattern and it's good trend. Everybody's been taking that long and they just got screwed. Why? News matters, fundamental matters, and if you can trade on that in retail, and it's hard, but if you can trade on that, that is like so much more consistent than these chart patterns and stuff. And see, like the E-mini is just chugging along up there at the tie. You think it could do this? Well, I don't know. Well, that's kind of interesting. I was wondering maybe at the top of the hour we would get something, but
Eric McDermott says Cali is not maintaining forest, e.g., letting them burn, causing way more emissions than vehicles. A real shame. Need forest management. New York taxing crime virus bad management equals people leave.
yeah. So you know, with since you're going into that, I find the Democrats' reaction to the stimulus bill failing really odd. So as I was saying here, um, there's got to be people trading this off of, well, no stimulus just means a larger stimulus down the road, right? Why is it?
Uzi Knesset says NYC man. BLM protests are riots for days, but they sure hammer on those Orthodox Jews. I mean, wow, lol.
Right? Well, because I don't know if it's they're picking on them. It's so much as it is that that community has just been having more outbreaks. But the Democrats have been complaining through like Trump's entire presidency that this whole economy is based on voodoo magic, that it's not real, that the average person isn't really participating in this economy, and that the only reason it's going up is because they're pumping money into the system and this and that, right? They're complaining about it. They're like, eventually it's all going to fall apart. There's too much corporate debt. This is all just corporations buying their own shares, and that's why we're so high. Okay. So then why are you guys, basically saying that you're going to continue that system and times it by like 10? Because that's what they're saying with their stimulus bill. Is they're just going to keep pushing it on daddy's credit card. You know what I mean? It's almost like politicians just do whatever is best for them in the short term. You know what I mean? All of this stimulus just makes me incredibly uneasy. It's like, how can we be at near all-time highs, and if we don't get a stimulus bill, it's the end of the world? Like, what the heck? Who's moderating the VP divide? I don't know. That's a good question. There's a lot of questions about moderator bias. Fair enough.
Uzi Knesset says it's almost like everyone should just stop being pussies about COVID, do the best we can to protect the vulnerable, and let the damn chips fall where they may. Person shrugging.
Yeah. Well, I just, man, I don't know how to say it or what the deal is, because I'm still seeing everybody trying to tell me that I need to be terrified and that everything is so bad. But then I look out there and I'm like, okay, we have 2 therapeutic treatments that work. Remdesivir works. The antibody cocktail works. We have a multiple vaccines in trials, and it's really just going to come down to like which one gets approved first, right? Like the vaccine totally works. It's just you have to do safety trials on it. And then
Uzi Knesset says COVID is going to be what stands between freedom and slavery. A lot of people seem to prefer slavery, and it's unnerving.
That we know who the vulnerable population is, and we can protect the vulnerable population and keep them away. We know how it's transmitted, so we have social distancing and masks, which works and has significantly reduced the spread of the virus, supposedly. But then you got these countries that are like, you get one case and it's complete lockdown. I don't get it. I really don't get it. It just seems crazy to me. Especially New Zealand, man. What they've been doing in New Zealand is like, you get one case in the whole country and you shut the whole thing down? What? And you sit down and everybody says, oh, it's just politics to try and get rid of Donald Trump. why would they do that in New Zealand then?
Ace Trades says at Live Action, I'm sure the folks who were brought over in ships in chains love hearing how you compare their life to life with COVID.
I don't know, man. They sure are giving government a lot of power that I really don't think that they
Eric
should be given.
McDermott says political asses DC idiots have government jobs, best health care benefits, and the money under the table bonuses. We need referendum to fire them, take pensions, drug test all gov workers. Rant.
I think maybe part of it is that I'm so here's another thing that's going on is I'm a little frustrated looking at the polling and everything else that's going on and seeing that it looks like the Democrats are going to sweep the Senate. So I could totally understand how Donald Trump could lose the election because he's got some serious negatives and this and that. But how are the Democrats getting an advantage in the Senate? How is it that they've been able to pull all of the bullshit that they've pulled over the past 4 years and people want to give them more power? I really just boggles the mind. And then everybody says, well, the polls are fake. Everybody says the polls are fake. I mean, maybe. I don't know, man. How can they be that wrong? All of the Donald Trump supporters are lying to the pollsters. The polls aren't really very accurate anymore because they can't talk to enough people. I feel like I'm a crazy person. I feel like I'm being gaslit. How can you get these spontaneous Donald Trump support trains? You know, like they'll come and they'll get a bunch of hundreds of cars and it'll go on for miles and miles. And they just appear out of nowhere. Like, I don't see any organization about it online. Nobody's talking about it. It's just like a couple of friends said, we're going to do this, and it kind of spreads by word of mouth or something. Like, I don't know how it happens. Nobody ever says anything about it. But then you go and you look at the polls, and Donald Trump is down by 20 points. What? I feel like something doesn't line up. And it's the whole thing. So I think I'm feeling a little frustrated because of that. And you're seeing it right here where it's like, well, we did get a little turn at the top of the hour. I don't know. I probably should have tried to take aces trade there at 80. So I need to check something here. I think I got a bunch of things going on today. I gotta look. It sure did turn there, like on a dime, didn't it? The E-mini. If I can get that, I think I would like it.
George West says, I am brand new. What markets are you trading?
Yeah, so well, we're watching the futures markets, and we're primarily trading treasuries and equity index futures. So this is like these DOMs that you see. This is the 5-year, the 10-year, the 30-year, and then this is the E-mini, and this is the E-micro for the S&P 500. Then you got a bunch of other stuff. This is the large orders in the E-mini. These are level 2 changes in the E-mini and in the 10-year. This chart down here is a chart of the 10-year. Honestly, a lot of it is just to look pretty and stuff, but generally, I'm kind of looking at everything, though, because I'm trying to get a macro picture. Makes sense? You can't compare this stuff to slavery. Well, I didn't say that it was slavery. Anyways, let me tell you something. If you can't handle hearing somebody give you a different perspective on the political situation in the country, then this channel is not for you and trading is not for you. Because the politics is like all the trading is. And if you can't see beyond your own ideology, you are going to have a very rough time. A very rough time. But that's okay. Not everybody needs to trade. Not everybody needs to trade, guys. Yeah, go to stay on Twitter where it's safe. Well, I just don't get this attitude of people that kind of say that, like, okay, you're running a live stream, like, you shouldn't share your opinion. It's like, okay, I'm not gonna censor myself like that. Like, why even freaking live? You can't be yourself. You know what I mean?
OnePlus Own says you think the Micro SP500 will reach 3,400 today.
Oh man, I don't know. I have to say, I really think that we should stay down because, in my opinion, even though we might get more stimulus later, so much damage is going to happen in the meantime, and we have to reduce our economic forecasts off of what happened yesterday. So I think that we should remain somewhat bearish, but maybe they'll disagree with me. So in this kind of a situation, I'm going to try and trade what I think, and I'm just going to have to be willing to admit when the market disagrees with me, right? Okay. I need to check my schedule here.
OnePlus Own says you think the Micro SP500 will reach 3,400 today.
Why is this not working?
OnePlus Own says you think the Micro SP500 will reach 3,400 today.
Oh dear. Oh, did I click on it a bunch of times or something? Oh, live action. Don't say shit like that. There we go. Oh. He says it looks like it's going to head up for a bit. I don't know. It did flip over the line there, but ZB threatened that rally you mentioned earlier, but it seems hesitant. Yeah, it really is kind of odd. You think short is the call for the open?
Hitmaker E
Well,
says you think short is the call for the open.
it's being a little fickle right now. I should probably get out, and I think I should get out and wait for the open to happen, but I'm sure that there's going to be some sort of a down move. I mean, they're going to let both sides have their say here, and we'll see how it comes out. The problem that I'm seeing is that I think I I kind of see something going on here, where it looks like they just disagree with me. I think they're wrong, but you know, it'll take a long time for them to figure that out. You know what I mean?
Hitmaker E
Well,
says lol.
you can see they're not giving me my they're not giving me room to breathe, and the volume and the liquidity don't look very favorable right now. So I think that let's just I'm not trading this too seriously today. Like, to be honest, I feel like with the amount of movement that we're gonna get and everything, that it would take way too much risk to be able to really get what we want out of it. But we'll see. We'll play it and we'll see what happens. I'm doing it with a sim account today, and nope, I don't need to do that anymore. Sorry, I'm doing a lot of thinking. I'm kind of in my own world today. Kind of in my own world today. Today is
Uzi Knesset says it's a very blah day. Live Action says hurricane winds at 145 miles per hour CL might be interesting today.
Mm-mm-mm.
Ace Trades says why does my NQ chart look weird? 12 to 20, right? Uzi Knesset says yeah.
I don't. Let's see. I don't see it. What do you mean by 1220? A little bit of a dump. They're playing with them. So I really want to get involved in that, but that says to me that probably we should be staying out until the open.
Live Action says grain reports Fry. I just read lower supply, higher demand, expected nice opening bid on Yest. Open.
Why do I keep doing that? I keep trying to switch over to my other computer to use the other screen, and I'm not realizing that I need to do that. Hmm. Don't need that anymore. Just turn it off. Okay. Okay. Present.
Vlad
like my
Stolyarov
head
says
is
I
all
wanted
over
to
the
short
place
yesterday, but I knew I didn't know what happens when market reaches 3,420 plus it could have went to 30, so yeah, I hesitated and missed on 100-point drop. Vlad Stolyarov says now we back to start. Vlad Stolyarov says 85-60s.
See, here's somebody on Twitter. I didn't even know who they are or why I'm following them, but they're tweeting somebody saying, "Why are so many pundits rushing to call the U.S. election? I've seen Brexit win when it was called for Remain. I've seen Trump win when it was called for Clinton. I've seen Netanyahu win twice when it was called for the left. Why do you do this to yourself?"
Live Action says Gulf responsible for 17% oil production and 5% gas.
The thing is, though, is Brexit polling was close. Clinton polling was actually a lot closer than a lot of the pundits were saying when it was on election day. And they were not getting data points in key areas. I actually came into that day saying I think Donald Trump is going to win because this state and this state are going to be really important. They're close, and we haven't gotten any polling there. And he has momentum, so he could win because of the momentum. Okay, the Netanyahu one, I don't know anything about those, but it's like seriously, like Biden's up like double digits, and it's showing that the Senate Democrats are just going to take over everything. I don't know, man.
Stolyarov says move fast. I am waiting to sign. Trump triggering algos. Biden is the rational one. Vlad Stolyarov says but he has dementia.
I don't think he's the rational one. I think he's just going to do what people tell him to do. Like, honestly, it's so transparent. Honestly, they're being so transparent about it. He's not really going to be president, guys. He's going to have advisors and they're going to run everything. Polls. No, it was funny because when it was Donald Trump was running, we're all saying one of the things that'll be nice about it is that he'll be able to get good people around him and he'll listen to those people. And, you know, I guess that has happened to some extent, but there's been some key instances where there's been drama because of Donald Trump. You're not going to see that with Biden. He's going to install advisors. They're going to have complete control and he's not going to do anything. except for like not die. Not die so that Kamala Harris can run in 4 years and become the president.
Vlad Stolyarov says slightly smiling face.
Oh man, I didn't even think about that one.
Live Action says can you imagine Harris as president? Vlad Stolyarov says people saying Kamala you are only hope.
I do find Kamala being president to be a little scary. But I don't know. Man, I didn't even think about that though. Joe Biden was saying he wasn't going to run for a second term. So
Vlad
is the
Stolyarov
left
says Star Wars.
Are we going to have the whole disaster all over again in 4 years? Because the last Democrat primary, like honestly, even if you're a Democrat, man, you got to be admitting that it was a disaster. The Democrat primaries. This is one of the dumbest misconceptions about probabilistic models.
Vegetaria says slightly smiling face.
The 538 model doesn't assume that polls are right. It does exactly the opposite. It tells you the chance that the polls will be wrong. I don't think that Nate Silver's explanation there is accurate. It seems to me
Vlad
that
Stolyarov says we have to consider SoftBank is there again.
Oh, sure. I mean,
Vlad
they must have
Stolyarov
gotten
says
destroyed
and
yesterday.
they can't let this thing drop yet.
They must have gotten destroyed yesterday. Do you think that they got blown out? I don't know. Hope they lost money. Hope they lost money.
Hitmaker E says the polls don't coincide with what we see at how many people at Trump's rallies and everywhere he goes.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. But, I mean, how are you can't say this one matters and this one doesn't. You know, how do you know which thing is accurate? Right? This is what has happened. This is what has happened. The Russians were successful. A rational person can no longer really tell what's actually going on. There's too much contradicting information. It's impossible to know. Oh, Nate Silver's going off here. What's he saying now? Donald Trump is getting absolutely, completely crushed in the polls right now. They point towards the biggest landslide since 1984. Despite that, he has about a 17% chance of winning, which isn't bad. Why? The polls might be wrong, according to Nate Silver. Well, I think the thing, I don't think that he's explaining his system very well, because from my understanding is the thing that's unique about his system is that it very much keeps, it very much factors in how much each state is worth and the different probabilities about how different states will go and how the polling overall flows into different states. And that's why he's able to go in and say, well, even if the polling is wrong, because of the way that the electoral map looks, Donald Trump actually has a relatively okay chance. And he's right. Like, in that if the polling looked like even right now, then it would probably be showing Donald Trump a win. What's Brannigan saying? If you're following the tactics of Trump, he will keep referencing any and all Democrats in his tweets as he attempts to be seen as willing to sign and help the people with stimulus. The ploy is to dump blame for lack of stimulus on the Democrats. Will the Democrats take the bait? Ugh. So this is another thing. I have to say it. It was a bad call for him to tweet that yesterday, man. He should have let everybody just kind of figure it out when the Democrats started saying stuff. The Democrats should have broke the news. Because he broke the news, everybody blames it on him. But if you go and you look at what the Democrats were actually proposing in their bills, I really don't see how you can say that the Democrats didn't play a significant part in this. Because the things that they were asking for in the bill were ridiculous. That thinks that there's absolutely no way that Republicans would ever allow those things to go into a bill, that they would ever vote for that stuff. But because he tweeted about it, he's going to take all the blame. He shouldn't have tweeted about it. He should have let the media figure it out from Pelosi's office or it getting leaked. Well, the polls were wrong with Hillary Clinton, but that doesn't mean that they'll be wrong this time. Past performance is not indicative of future results. You see? It's like, we can't really know. Polls were wrong from an electoral college standpoint with Clinton. They were pretty accurate in nailing the popular vote. Yeah, but that's where I'm saying that, like, the thing that I don't think people realize is that we're talking about a margin of 1 to 2%. And so, yeah, the vote was within the margin of 1 to 2%. But what was happening is that they weren't polling those what is it? Michigan and Wisconsin, and I forget which ones he won and which ones he didn't, but we weren't getting late polling there. That was like the key battleground state. Donald Trump was going there in the last days, and they weren't running polls there. And I knew. Was like, well, he wouldn't be going there if it wasn't close.
CHR1SDI says, "Hi Seth, just wanted to say thanks for your videos in this channel."
Hey, thank you very much. You know what? I'm not always the best. I'm not always the best trader, and sometimes I'm not always the best analyst, and sometimes I say things that are completely wrong, or I'm just an absolute disaster, but I try really, really hard, and the thing that keeps me in it is you guys. No joke. So when somebody comes in and says, thanks for the videos, like that you've been watching the videos and you come in and just wanted to say hi, means so much to me, dude. Thank you very much. I wish I was holding along from 33.79. Why? Well, I don't know. Let's just see the open. Let's just see the open. I'm gonna try and be a click cowboy here, all right? I'll come in. I'm gonna give myself a set target, and we're just gonna try and play it a couple times. That's a weird thing for Donald Trump to retweet. Ask yourself why Attorney General Barr fights Judicial Watch in virtually every Freedom of Information Act lawsuit seeking records over the Obamagate coup plot. That is quite odd. Perhaps it is because they don't want the information to come out until late October, and that's their October surprise. I'm kind of starting to get the feeling that that's what the October surprise is. Given this whole thing yesterday about that they basically proved, well, I don't know if I don't want to say proved, but they released a thing that one of Obama's intelligence guys briefed him, and it's like handwritten notes basically saying that he knew that they were trying to hit Trump. Basically, they were implicating Obama in this coup. And I'm thinking, well, surely Donald Trump knew that. Okay, so the first impulse moved up, but the cumulative delta was short on it. So a bunch of people tried to go short and got overwhelmed by the limit orders. Okay, so there was a little bit of a break. So like I was saying before, there's going to be a sell. of some sort. So we'll see how strong it is. It's that last impulse right there kind of looks to me like the guys that went short bailing, especially with the way that the cumulative delta snapped back there. Why is the Hill still tweeting about this Michelle Obama video from yesterday? Let's see here. Why is that giving me opening range low there? Is that yesterday's opening range low or something? Yeah, it was. What the hell? Okay, whatever. Gary, welcome back. How are you? Use a 500 tick chart for fun. Okay. So there is a bit of pushback here, but it's pretty... they're not getting a whole lot out of it. Well, I tell you one thing, my position was not very effective. My spot was not very effective at all. Okay. NQ is a beast again today. Hmm. So I have to say that the price action there has gotten really slow considering that we're the first 5 minutes of the open and what happened yesterday and everything. I don't you find that just a little odd how much it slowed down there? Okay, well, there is some selling coming in here. Let's see, I don't know how I got in at what ended up being support, but
Vlad Stolyarov says can try shorting but risky 91.5 plus would be stop.
hmm. I mean, it looks like it's going to turn over, but they're not touching the moving average. They haven't crossed the moving average yet. In fact, it's a little too perfect.
Vlad Stolyarov says it's early for me to enter. Greg Orlovsky says 21,000 in the MES. Vlad Stolyarov says I usually let it play out more.
Greg, where have you been? I'm happy to see you. How are you doing, my friend?
Greg Orlovsky says contracts. Greg Orlovsky says hi Seth. Vlad Stolyarov says volume's pretty consistent. Greg
Oh, okay.
Orlovsky says been watching.
We were talking. I was talking about you the other day. Actually, I was like, there's this one guy that really knew what he was doing, and there was some news, and it wasn't handling the news very well, and then we didn't hear from him for a while, and I was concerned. So to see you back makes me happy. Okay, well, my one of my robots just took an order there, by the way. Wonder why the Ace one should have taken it, but because I didn't turn it on soon enough, but the Ace one would have taken one there too. Scalping the Dom is not working in this volatility, yeah.
Greg Orlovsky says OMG scalping Dom not working with this volatility.
I mean, the thing is that I'm starting to find is that there's definitely like patterns to it, but that pattern changes very quickly. You know what I mean?
Vlad Stolyarov says tick is easier to see. I am using 512 tick on TOS right now.
But there's definitely like the algorithms will all get, because they're machine learning, they'll kind of all sync up and get into a certain mode, and so then one of them will start to trade against that, and then it messes it all up, and then they go into something else. It's like this thing that just kind of goes like, you know. So I'm just finding that technical edges are just like have been extremely unreliable. And news can work, but you don't always know. You
Vlad
don't always
Stolyarov
have the
says
edge on the news,
NVDA
you know?
is so manipulated.
Oh, you think so?
Vlad
Tesla.
Stolyarov says NVDA next TSLA.
I'm so sick of Tesla. I really wish that Tesla would just collapse so that people would stop talking about it.
Vlad Stolyarov says 565 plus over then 1000. Greg Orlovsky says still scalping ZB and now TN Dom moves are similar to the ZB but half the tick value. Vlad Stolyarov says I am thinking.
I'd say I thought that TN was more similar to the 10-year, but I've never really watched it. Well, I tell you what, it's being kind of weird because so I thought, okay, it's rolling over. The cell's coming in. It gave me some cell signals. It's getting washed out.
Greg Orlovsky says yes, almost 1-for-1 with the ZB.
But they didn't take the high.
Vlad Stolyarov says Bind kills all short.
I would have thought that they would have attacked the high right away to wash people out. Come on. Hit me. It's okay. It's a sim account. Do your worst. There you go. The issue is that every little
Vlad
step
Stolyarov
up
says they going
like,
for test.
every little step up is kind of like, can we really do this? Because we're back into yesterday's levels now. And they're like right on the edge of that profile, man. So if they were to roll over here, it could roll over so hard.
Greg Orlovsky says was up 1,800 in September, lost 2,800 the last 2 days of September. IDK anymore.
I should note, though, that we are once again seeing that NQ strength. NQ coming back with vengeance. Oh, wow, really, Greg? So you were doing well in September, and then the last 2 days you lost it. Well, I had a similar experience, man. I was doing really, really well. And I mean really, really well.
To stop making love to 26 shit.
And then
Vlad
in
Stolyarov
one day
says,
I blew it.
believe Garage Trader lost everything on shorting possibly Etsy when it pumped 20%, so you losses are minimal. Greg Orlovsky says random stuff.
Yeah, luckily for me, it wasn't that much money in there. But I looked at it and I was like, well, to trade this market, I would have to use a lot more risk than I should be putting on there. So let's just go back to sim until this is all resolved. You know? There you go. Okay. So they are... this is some of the most bullish action in terms of new money coming into the market that I think I've ever seen.
Vlad Stolyarov says don't short now.
I really don't believe that it's sustainable, but trying to short it is probably a fool's errand. I suppose I could go long so that they flip around.
Vlad Stolyarov
you know that's
says
what's
I believe
happen.
it's not gonna stop till 00.
You know that's what's going to happen, right? You think that they want to go right back to 3,400? Oh, man. You really got to wonder. I mean, I guess if you think
Vlad
that
Stolyarov
there's going to be
says,
a bigger stimulus in the end, I mean, that's the only fundamental backdrop that I can really think of for them to be buying it long that aggressively is
Vlad
because they
Stolyarov
think,
says
oh,
they
you
made
get a bigger
mistakes. Need to correct
stimulus.
them.
They made a bigger stimulus.
Vlad Stolyarov says it was doing inverse breakout yesterday. Greg Orlovsky says Econ is light have fed speakers 10Y note auction at 1E. S. T.
Yes.
Yikes.
We pointed that out at the beginning, and that's another reason why I'm a little down on myself today, because I really don't think that I have a good probability here. It's like you had a really big day yesterday, but then you don't have a lot of news to drive us today. And you're going to have a lot of people that are going to want to get involved, but in different ways. So it makes it really hard to really know what's going on. You know what I mean? Okay, so they came down. Previous resistance is acting as support for now. Am I getting? I haven't heard anything from my news squad. I'm gonna make sure that that's working. Oh, Donald Trump retweeted that? Oh my god.
Vlad
Oh,
Stolyarov
man.
says this market can go 10 points without reason wrong way too.
Okay, so Michelle Obama did an interview or a video interview of some sort where she basically said that Donald Trump was running a racist campaign and that Black Lives Matters is largely a peaceful protest and everything. So somebody on the Donald made a video of her doing that, and she was kind of in a green screen. So in the background, they're showing all of the videos from, like, you know, buildings on fire and all of the violence and everything that happened from these BLM protests. And James Wood posted
Vlad
it.
Stolyarov says carnage.
James Wood posted it, and now Donald Trump has retweeted it. So now Donald Trump has retweeted that video. I can't. That's probably the most ballsy meme that he's put. I don't know if the media is gonna make a deal out of that one or not, but I can't believe that he retweeted that. Wow. He still has the phone in his hand. I think that they still kind of got him
Stolyarov says
quarantined.
AMD 87.
He's gonna say stuff.
Vlad Stolyarov says that is where they had call options, so makes sense.
I mean, maybe it's possible they're just trying to recover their losses, but I don't think so. I really don't. There's too much participation here on this. You can see the depth short getting a bad signal over and over and over again. Wait, what? Donald Trump retweets Chuck Callisto report. California governor's office tells diners to wear masks in between bites. What? Ugh. And so Donald Trump retweets that with the message, vote Trump, California. Okay. This is just too much for me, man. I am like, am I awake? Am I awake? I'm not. You're getting too weird. Oh, man. $33.92 yesterday's opening range though. That is not right. Where's my
Vlad Stolyarov says HFT alert says when programs trigger panic we know what to do by dip post fact. Yeah, right, with like 300 points of NQ risk.
No, man. I will say it's not a clean move. It's not a clean move.
Greg Orlovsky says second huge volume bar. Greg
Yeah.
Orlovsky says MES.
Did you see that?
Vlad Stolyarov says I remember move when Musk said TSLA is overvalued.
I remember that too. That seems like it was just a month ago. Now Donald Trump is retweeting a bunch of James Woods stuff. Wow, does that grim picture remind you of I am the only thing the radical left's away vote? And he's retweeting James Rudd, who says, rounding up the Jews is an optic that I would never have expected to see in my American lifetime. De Blasio is a criminal. No wonder he changed his name from Wilhelm. He is an anti-Semite thug. POS. That's what Donald Trump are retweeting now. I don't know. The right on Twitter this morning is being kind of weird. They're upset. I think that they are upset. There they going again. Up 3,400 apparently. Like, the thing is, this is so far above anything that I've got.
Vlad Stolyarov says let them come.
It's really something else. It's beyond anything that I have to be able to analyze.
Vlad Stolyarov says I am waiting there.
Let's look at trading. Let's look at the VIX levels. They have 34.11 on the upside. We should remember that they basically opened at 3,400 yesterday. I don't know. It's a little crazy.
Vlad Stolyarov says binned in La La Land. Vlad Stolyarov says 190.
So I'm just going to keep myself prepared for... I don't know what it's going to do, but if it crosses that line, I want to go short. So... What do you think? Crazy move. Three post-election stimulus scenarios from Bank of America. Supersized, baseline, skinny.
Vlad Stolyarov says 2 p.m. FOMC meeting minutes small effect usually.
Hmm.
Vlad
Is gonna
Stolyarov says
secure
Google
the
and
way.
FB not part of FANG rally.
Yes.
Greg Orlovsky says 3 minutes top of hour.
I'm gonna go for the slightly safer area. Yeah, we might get something at the top of the hour.
Vlad Stolyarov says might get more Donald Trump.
He's still got the phone in his hand for sure.
Vlad Stolyarov says they needed to put him in bunker where he can't twit. Greg Orlovsky says agreed Trump killing my trading. Greg Orlovsky says and I'm a Republican.
I mean, I like it when there's news. What I don't like is after
Uzi
the
Knesset
news you
says
get
shut
this
Twitter
nonsense.
down. 76% of world problems solves law.
There you go. I hate it when I mean, I think that how do I describe
Greg
why I hate
Orlovsky
it?
says yep.
I guess I just hate it when I end up being wrong about something or the trade doesn't work. I guess that's really all there is to it. Ah. Got what's coming up at the top of the hour? IVPMI from Canada. Van Sparken will be speaking.
Vlad Stolyarov says some conducted volume here.
You can kind of see where the buyer
Uzi
decided
Knesset
to
says this
defend.
24 to 26 range in CP is the premier line in the sand right now, damn.
So I stopped right into him. And he's trying to defend it. IVPMI is 54.3 versus the previous reading of 67.8. So still positive, but showing that the strength of their recovery has moderated. Okay, new low. Seller's probably gonna give up. So 33.84.50. Move that by one. You can see some people buying it at the longer term moving average. Okay, Pelosi's spokesperson is talking right now and said that Mnuchin inquired about a standalone airline bill. And that's all I've heard, which isn't too positive, in my opinion. But let's see. They spoke by phone at 9:33. The secretary inquired about a standalone airlines bill. The speaker reminded him that Republicans blocked that bill on Friday and asked him to review the DeFazio bill so they could have an informed conversation. That is not good. Kind of looks like that the buyer, like the buyer's sitting there hanging on the edge of the cliff, and he's got all of his lemmings. He's holding them by the hand, trying to pull them up, and he can't quite do it. That's what it looks like to me. Now, here's a thought. If this rolls over, and I mean it really rolls over.
Bottom line says the stimulus isn't dead. Greg
They
Orlovsky says short 90.25 frustrating.
You get them not touching 3,400 would make it that much worse, right? I don't know if that's what's going to happen, but I am short. You say the stimulus isn't dead.
Vlad
I
Stolyarov
think
says watch 86.75.
I think I understand why you might say that, right? Because we're not getting a stimulus until next February, but the Democrats are still going to try and pass something after they're in office, right? It's going to be a disaster. Like, honestly, think about it. If Democrats have a true majority in the House, I mean, I guess they would have to get rid of the filibuster because they're not going to have a filibuster-proof majority. Can you imagine the things that they will put in the bill if they just put the bill that they had before, man? Ooh, because there was so many things in there. Like, it was like
Uzi Knesset says race-based stimulus.
mail-in balloting for everybody and all of this stuff. Republicans would be so upset if they passed that bill, man. It might not be quite so simple, though, when the time comes. Maybe they are not willing to nuke the filibuster yet, and they do have to negotiate with the Republicans and yada yada. Okay, so I'm seeing here buyers still hanging on and trying to pull it out. Oh my gosh, really? Vice President team agrees to be separated by plexiglass at debate. Okay. If there's like one big thing of plexiglass in the middle, then okay. But if they have plexiglass like they're having at the schools, that'll be so dumb. I just feel silly watching it. Like if there's plexiglass between them and the camera. By the way, I will be watching the debate tonight, but I'm not going to stream it. I'm going to take a rest.
Bottom line says you shouldn't say the stimulus is dead when Trump is just postponing it because Dems want $2.5 trillion to bail out Dem-run cities. He's made a promise, you can bank on it. Greg Orlovsky says typical MES trade walks right back into my price.
Right? Hey, they being like that today, aren't they?
Uzi Knesset says fun part of the COVID saga, assigning blame on particular events for someone getting infected. Like the 1 to 2 hours they did that thing the media said they shouldn't do is the only window of time. Vlad Stolyarov says stops over 96 relax. Vlad
Right.
Stolyarov says it's building some kind of wedge.
It still appears to me like a buyer is trying to defend his position. We're right at the buyer's cost basis. He's trying to defend his position. If he fails, 84.20, well, I need to move it down. 84.25 is the spot in which the sellers kind of have the advantage. And there'd be
Uzi
lots
Knesset
of money
says, and
for
you
them
know
to
these
sub out.
people ain't coughing and sneezing on each other. They get sick, 99% chance they just forgot to wash their hands.
Well, did you hear this thing about how McKinney, she got it, but then, 5 days ago before she caught it, there was these reports that people in the press pool were catching it. So they were all making a big deal that she was going to give it to them when it was probably the other way around.
Bottom line says air war against Iran soon.
Oh, jeez. Joe Biden gets in and there's a war with Iran. Is that what you're saying now? Oh, look, my depth thing is trying to go short again. That looks like it's being caught on a spoof, though. I mean, every once in a while that it'll catch one. Realize when you see that on the chart, I just have to point it out every time. Realize when you see that on the chart that robot is intentionally bad. You see how easily he gets stopped out?
Greg Orlovsky says Biden will just drop more money.
I don't know. You can kind of see the iceberging there and lots of contracts going through at 33.89.
Vlad Stolyarov says this robot need to realize he playing on fib level. Vlad Stolyarov says which is maybe support.
Yeah. Well, if you using my indicator.
Bottom
You'll
line says
see.
Trump will lead an all-out air war to destroy their nuke capabilities.
Where are you getting this from? Why would that be on your mind? So I'm getting some people missing the whole headline with Mnuchin and Pelosi talking about an airline bill.
Bottom line says it's biblical.
Okay. Well, so you can see there that the buyer defended his position and is pushing up. They might be able to test it again. Let's see. Treasury not really moving. Treasury coming back down, in fact. You see the way that 25 ticked there? I'm seeing some big stacks and pulls on the Treasury, but they're all really far away.
Rex says which stock
Okay.
are you talking about? With the buyer defending their position?
Or I'm talking about the S&P 500 index. In the futures, you can see somebody buying
Vlad
it there.
Stolyarov says now we see seller.
I'll show you more clearly. Okay. Big chart. You see this dotted orange line? All sellers are washed out. They come back to the buyer's line. That's where the average position that the buyer is long from. He paid up a lot. Okay. So they tried to bounce it there. They tried to bounce it up again. They weren't able to get more coming into them. So now the sellers are taking their turn. So below this line now it is in seller's advantage. Now it is seller's advantage. But the buyers made a lot of money. So that's this blue line that's kind of coming down right here. That's kind of trying to estimate how much money the buyers have to lose. So if they were able to wash that whole thing out, and I mean, it's like way down there, right? 3,300. Then they would have, you know, eliminated all of the money that buying market makers had made today. But that's too far to look at. We should be looking at the positions from the overnight. So down into this area, 3368 or so. Should also note, you can see there that the seller, he finally got things on his way. It looks like that they covered. So I bet you that this line will go down next bar.
Bottom line says Book of Daniel. Western he-goat will destroy Persian ram. The burden of Damascus becoming a ruined heap has already taken place. YouTube drone over Damascus. It's also an end-day prophecy completed.
Okay.
Ace Trades says at Vlad Stolyarov, you do know that for every seller, there is a buyer, right?
Now, but when he says now we see seller, what he's saying is that the seller is becoming aggressive now.
Vlad Stolyarov says in futures.
And
Ace Trades
probably
says at bottom line, where are you getting that garbage from?
probably a lot of that was longs bailing, to be honest with you. Probably a lot of that was longs bailing, but I digress.
Uzi Knesset says, oh Lord, you brought up the Bible. At ACE Trades bout to implode on yo ass lol.
Oh, don't start today, guys. Don't start today, guys. We don't need another video with a massive number of downvotes. Yesterday we got enough engagement on its own. We got a lot of people watching today too, by the way. So thank you guys very much. If you are enjoying this content, take a moment to click that like button. I appreciate it. No fun allowed. We're only trading. We're focused. The seller, he's kind of got things going his way.
Fun allowed. Tongue out.
Are these buyers and sellers?
Rex says, are these buyers and sellers defending their positions and bailing out bots or humans?
I don't know. I'm going to assume a lot of it are robots. But I don't actually know. I don't have a way of categorizing that.
Ace Trades says, if you don't hit the like, your president will catch the flu.
I can tell you that there's a few. Remember, one, it's a model. Okay, so there can be situations where the assumptions that the model makes are wrong, and that's not what's really happening at the moment. Okay, which the time when that tends to happen is when new money is coming into the market, which is a really big drawback, right? And the second thing is that it is looking primarily at passive order flow, which is to say, what positions are the people providing liquidity taking? Okay, so that's why I'm saying it came back there. The liquidity providers were taking a lot.
John 25 says, Ace Trades lol tears of joy.
We're taking quite a bit there in that area. And I was looking for a cross between the two market makers so that the sell side market makers would have their chance. And it went almost to it. It's bouncing off of it a little bit. We'll see. They might go back up to the other side. 33.8850. They could bounce. I mean, yesterday they bounced back and forth between the two sides multiple times. A larger picture, though, I kind of wonder, you know, they didn't hit 3,400. I think
Bottom line
that some
says
more
Ace,
severe
Google the
downtrend
burden
could
of
take
Damascus
hold.
in red. Then YouTube drone over Damascus and watch. This end day prophecy has been completed. Not garbage. Look it up, then prove me wrong.
Well, I tell you what, you take a trade based off of it, and then you come back and tell us if the trade worked out.
Uzi Knesset says at bottom line, you know no one's gonna do that, man. Rex says, are there indicators that analyze order flow and give buy, sell signals available for retail traders?
Very funny.
John
Seth.
25 says, haha, funny Seth. Ace Trades says at bottom line, where are you getting this prophecy from?
Here, I'll turn it off for a second and you guys go at it. Go, go, go. Fight, 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 fight. Well, I don't particularly like that. I'm going to give it a little bit more room here to try and get myself out. All right, fine. Fine. I guess I should have taken it all off when we got back to the seller's cost basis. Probably too many people did what I did. Oh, I got the sell. Okay, let's just take our win for now. Gosh dang Okay. The Bull's coming back with a vengeance. You think I should have managed that a little differently? No, you know what? I'm actually really happy that I took like some of the profit down at the bottom, and I still got $50 out of it, so it's okay. In fact, that's actually better than overall. Oh wait, why am I getting? I didn't take that many trades, did I? Hmm. Well, I'm having a hard time reading it today because Bull is back. So why is that not showing up then? Oh, now I'm really confused. When I'm looking at my positions, it's only showing me when, oh, maybe I need to do this. Ah, okay. Now it does it. Okay. So it did wipe out my kind of tepid traits from earlier. Mhm. You want some statements? Just let me know what you want them to say. No, 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 no. There's like regulatory concerns with that. Oh, I'm surprised that they hit me that quickly. Okay, well, let's see if it works out. Hmm. Hmm. He was like got the popcorn out. I mean, here's the thing. I'm a believer in the Bible. I don't see how you get a trade out of that. I'm kind of like, I'm sorry, but it's a little bit of a stretch to say that a war with Iran is coming because of something you read in the Bible. So we are going to get oil inventories here at the bottom of the hour. Hmm. Not used to seeing people rage so fervently against religion like it was edgy in the 90s, but seeing someone do it today is like a blast from the past, right? Well, I have to say something I find really alarming about society today is the people that are really so upset about the religion. Like, it's not just that it's like, oh, I don't believe it and I think you're wrong. It's like that you've wronged me somehow. And I really don't think that that's the case. I think that Christian society has generally been one of the main reasons that Western society has been so successful. And that a lot of the problems that we have in today's society stem from a departure from those rules, primarily over the sexual revolution. But that's just me. Hmm. So after that happened, they come back. They're kind of chopping it around here again. I didn't really get a whole lot of favorable ticks there, though, did I? Did it go favorable at all? No, it hasn't. That sucks. So that tells me something. Hmm. I think that maybe the overall idea was okay, but shouldn't have done it on the first one. Don't do it, Seth. What are you? I saw that look in your eyes. I don't even know. You took me out. Okay. So I was kind of testing a theory out there, and that time it didn't work. Okay, here's the oil numbers. Was a build. Did Ace go long? Oh, I see where you're saying it. No, I don't like this area. I mean, they had a good bounce, so I'd have to be taking a bullish, but I do find the action up here to be a little concerning. And I wouldn't be surprised if they came back down here. Oh, they're going to go now, huh? What's this? That looks like SoftBank bullshit again. Why this is the thing that always makes me think SoftBank is really wild order flow with no discernible cause. In areas where they're really pushing it. See, like up here, it's really pushing it. They could go again and get 3,400, but I'm just saying, it's a really really strong bull trend. And then all of the sudden, you get all of this volume out of nowhere, just comes and pushes them into a new high. What? And there's no news or anything. Hmm. So I'm just thinking about it, and I'm like, well, I mean, it all makes sense to me, but I'm just surprised that here so quickly we're right back up here, and that they're pushing as strong as they are, and everything else like that. Really thought that it would be more of a, moderated than that, even if they were going to go up to back to 3,400. Somebody must really want it though. Bigfoot has a Facebook page where he plays the saxophone? What? You guys. I mean, like, it looks like it's turning back down again, but I don't know. I'm not actually seeing. So one of the things that's weird is that normally off of a move up like that, you would see the volume would the inventory would be rising on the buy side, but that's not what's happening. The buyers aren't buying it with limit orders at all. It's all market orders. He's pushing it. So you've got another one of these situations where if it falls down, it could do so really dramatically, but somebody is obviously trying to hold it up. Do you see also how much my depth robot is getting faked out? Do you see all of it gets one of those signals and it's wrong every time? Maybe we should flip it around now and see how he does. Because that's pretty bad. He's like over what? What is he? 0 for 5. That's a damn good signal. Wait, how much MFE is he getting? Oh, he's actually getting okay MFE. 2 ticks MFE. I don't know, dude. I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna do it. Okay. Turn him back on. Meanwhile, we're getting back to the spot that I'm interested in. Maybe I'm a little bit late, but let's call it fair. Well, that would have been better. If I could have gotten that stop above the 33.98, that would have been better. I could try campaigning it. Overall, I'm finding the level 2 be a little curious here today, by the way. While they ran into some liquidity and pulled back, that's interesting. There's that stuff back at 90. So that stuff back at 90 is the buyer's cost basis again. Hey. Come to Papa. Come on. You know you got a little bit more in you. Come on. Oh, did it try it? Did it actually flip around on me? That's funny. I switched the robot. As soon as I switched the robot, it gets a signal. That would have worked. That's funny. Maybe 16 ticks is just asking too much for that trade. So let me help you out in chat here a little bit. I'm gonna try to guide the conversation to a slightly more interesting subject on this. Okay. My premise here is that you don't actually need true, full, 100% factual proof of something for it to be worth believing in something. There are many things that you're going to find in life that you're not going to be able to prove that it's true or not. You might not be able to know at all what is really going on, but if you just have faith and you just go along with it, it will work out. and it's a good thing. And I think that the question is really more not that everything has to be proven, but what sort of things should we really require true exhaustive proof on, and what are things that it's okay to take it on faith. Okay. Now, I'll tell you, always watch movies, and man, it seemed like when I was a kid. So, like a good example, Land Before Time. That was a movie I watched a lot as a little kid. One of the morals of this story is that Littlefoot had faith that the Great Valley existed, even though he had only heard about it in a story. He couldn't prove that it existed, and none of them believed him that it actually existed, but they were just following him anyways, right? Littlefoot, right? Great movie. I watched when I was 5 years old. I watched that every day. Anyways, so that was an example of something, right? He couldn't prove it, but he went through with it with faith. And I think the thing you will find is that those kinds of situations almost always have to do with groups of people. You get what I mean? Having group cohesion is actually more effective than being right. If you have a tribe of people and they all believe together and they all move together, they could be dead wrong about something, but they will still come out on top because the group cohesion and cooperation is more essential to your survival than being right is. That is, of course, becoming less and less true as the groups become bigger and the world becomes more complex. But that has always been the case. And so I say that there are things where it is totally okay to just base faith off of, particularly when it's a social situation and there's not any, I want to say, like, significant harm that is incurred by being wrong. Okay. So, like, for instance, I'm LDS. LDS people believe that you shouldn't drink alcohol. Okay. If we're wrong, is there harm from people not drinking alcohol? Not really. So that's maybe something, at least on that particular point, whether you should drink alcohol or not. It's okay to take that on faith, right? You'd have to prove active harm from a particular belief, I think, to get it into the point where we have to say, okay, now we need to talk about proving something because you're saying that a belief is causing harm. Make sense? So where would that line be for you is the question. No one should use faith for beliefs if they care about having true beliefs. It's a great way to be wrong. It's not reliable. Well, yeah, it is a great way to be wrong, but not having beliefs is a great way to miss out on things that you would have no way of being able to catch anyways. You get what I mean? Like just as an example, from a factual perspective, that a particular technical setup has worked in the past has absolutely no influence on whether it will continue to work in the future. Has absolutely no impact. When you are taking a trade off of a technical setup, you are doing so based off of faith that stat will continue to hold up. And I mean, you really are taking a faith because what I have seen is that they almost always tend to go away after a while. That is like saying if you don't use a rabbit's foot, you are missing out on having something. But you are missing out on having something. You're missing out on the joy and experience of having a rabbit's foot. I don't use faith for anything. I have a reasonable confidence in something. I don't use faith. I don't think that reasonable confidence qualifies, though. To me, if you can't 100% prove something with a scientific method, then you're basing some of it on faith. What is faith other than confidence? Just as an example, over the last election, I give you a perfect example of where this actually matters to real world things. Donald Trump supporters had faith that Donald Trump was going to win the election. And they would not be dissuaded by anything. There was polls, all the polls and everybody on the news said that he was going to lose. Why did they believe that he was going to win? They really didn't have evidence. And when I look at it today, I can't prove that he's ahead or he's not. I really don't know. To me, because I feel like if I'm going to make a prediction on the election, that I need to have verifiable proof that gives me an edge in being able to predict the call. But to them, they're going 100% off of faith that he's going to win. But here's the thing. If the Donald Trump supporters didn't have that faith, he wouldn't have won last election. Don't you see? It was the group cohesion. It was the faith that was created from that group, whether it was justified by logic and reality or not, led to him winning. Man, they keep coming down there and they just don't want to touch me. If they do come down there, they're going to go a lot further, probably to 85. But they may just stop it out. But it's been in my favor enough that I feel confident moving that. Rob says it was the electors, and I mean, it was voters, and a lot of it was Donald Trump supporters just being enthusiastic and going out and voting for him, regardless of what they were seeing on the news. That's why they're doing it again today. It's like, man, everything in the polling, every piece of evidence that I see suggests that Donald Trump is going to get crushed in this election. But if I went and posted that on the Donald, there would not be a single person that would say, yeah, I think Donald Trump is going to lose. In fact, when you look at the polling, the majority of Americans think that Donald Trump is going to win still, even though the polling is really, really bad for him. How does that work? Faith, a powerful thing when everybody believes it. One can have confidence and be wrong, but you did the best you could with what you have. Using faith is not having any reason just because you want to believe a good way to be wrong. It is a good way to be wrong, but a lot of the time you're right too. Like that's the whole thing, right? The question is, how many things are there out there that you wouldn't have no probability of pursuing without faith? That's the whole thing. Or to go back to the point, if Littlefoot didn't have faith in the Great Valley, then they would have just starved out there. And his mom had never seen the Great Valley. It was just a story. You get what I mean? Of course, that's kind of an extreme situation, but I'm just saying. There are situations where you're never going to make the right choice without faith. They do exist. And he didn't have faith. He was desperate. He had no choice. Oh, no, Ace. He 100%. Come on, go watch the movie. That's the whole point of the story. He 100% believed that it existed. And the whole movie, they're trying to convince him that it doesn't exist. The whole movie, they're like, no, there's no Great Valley. See, that was it. And there's nothing there. Let's just go. And they leave him like multiple times because they don't believe it. Okay, how many kids die today because their parents want to use faith to heal them? Well, that's where I said you got to go and look at the harm about this particular thing, right? Okay, so if I can sit down and I can say, okay, you have faith in thing X, but if you're wrong, then this is the harm that it incurs to you, then it's a different situation, right? If you can actually enumerate a specific harm. But I think that there's a lot of things where, and sometimes there's situations where there's a specific harm. It's like, okay, if you want to day trade, I can show you all the statistics and everything, and there's pretty much a 99% chance that you're going to lose money. But you're all still doing it. I mean, come on. I mean, say that we might have a reasonable chance of being able to predict that, but 99% of people seem to think that that's the case, and then they fail. So what makes you different? You literally can't go into it. You literally will never get it unless you have a little bit of faith in yourself. That somehow you're different. I can quote from the Book of Bigfoot. Does that make Bigfoot real? Don't try and confuse faith with reasonable confidence. But how can you have reasonable confidence? That's where I'm like, okay, 99% of people lose money doing this. You have reasonable confidence that you're different? No, you can't have a reasonable confidence that you're different. It's a 99% chance. Am I wrong? No such thing as people who don't believe in Bigfoot. So I'm wondering, the first time I tried that trade, it didn't work at all. The second time I tried that trade, it worked out okay. It kind of looks like it's going to lose, but... Oh, I missed that tweet 2 minutes ago from Donald Trump. Yeah, Zero Hedge tweeting is the same thing that I've been thinking all day. 22-year-old math PhDs recalibrating their algos. No stimulus now just means double stimulus after the election. Yeah, except for that you got a whole, 3 months in the meantime to do who knows what damage. Regardless of what the end result is, that means that economic growth will be less than what we thought it would be yesterday. Uzi's going outside. Have a good one, dude. Yeah, well, 80% of Americans do believe in God, and I don't think that there's anything wrong with believing in God. As long it's always people taking it to another extension. I have to say, there aren't a whole lot of mainstream religions in the United States that, for instance, believe that you should never accept medical help, right? Even some of there might be some things like I think a more common one would be like people believe certain things about chastity that might make things difficult for a person if they go through a trauma of some sort, and I don't think that that's necessarily the fault of the religious doctrine. It's usually people taking doctrine well beyond what it initially was to say, you know? Mm, mm, mm. Hmm. I'm still every time I come over here and I look at what my robot did, because I changed it over here, right? I just think it's so funny that it was doing so bad, so I finally said, okay, let's switch it around and see if the opposite signal, how it does, because we've been doing it for long enough. And the very first one it takes, it's a fake signal. My reading, from what I've seen, I'm going to guess that it's still going to lose money overall. It won't. It will have a better percentage than what it was getting, but it'll still only be like 40-45%. Now, this one that I'm in over here, I think that I had the right idea, but didn't. I think I was looking for too much on it. So apparently that setup is not necessarily worth 4 points. Now, it really looks like they can come up and stop me out, but I want to keep it equal risk reward so that when I'm going back and looking at it, I can keep track a little bit better about how well it's working. So I doubt 80% to the point the tax break should be taken away from these institutions. Why? Yeah. It sure looks to me. I know this sounds silly, but I want to keep the stats equal, so I have to let it stop me out. Sure looks like it wants to go out and blow it though, doesn't it? Oh, and why am I saying that? Because I should have I didn't I killed that one. I should keep that now. It's probably 80% average, but declining with younger age groups. Yeah, but here's why I think it's important. Is that I think that it's actively harmful to society to have these young groups not involved in anything like that. It's a natural part of human behavior to have like tribal ritual. And if they don't have a religion that is a good religion, they will invent a new one. They will invent an atheist religion. And I wouldn't be so sure that that atheist religion will be any better. In fact, when I go out and I look and I see how the Church of Wokeness has basically become a religion, I have to say I really don't think that it's a good thing at all. I think that people need this in their lives. It's like regardless of whether or not God exists or not, it's like it's a vital part of healthy psychology, healthy social group. You're down voting for the crazy street corner proselytizing. Hey, don't don't punish me because we have one person in chat that wants to short the market because there's going to be a war with Iran. And listen, I don't Come on. Come on. You had fun. You don't admit it. You all had fun. I made you think a little bit, even if you disagree with me. Okay, let's change the subject. What do you think about people like Sam Harris, who thinks you can have all of that without religion? I've never heard that, but I think that you could replace it potentially. Yeah. I guess what I'm saying is that I'm a little concerned that people left to their own devices will create one that's actually positive. You get what I mean? I think that you could go and you could do a study and you could create like the perfect religion for the psychology, at least. Might not be in line with what the actual truth is, because the actual truth is unknowable, but you could potentially craft a religion that is the most beneficial to society, but that would not be what people come up with on their own. What people come up with on their own, the ideas that the average person is going to have are going to lead to a harmful religion. Do you think BLM is a new religion? For some people, yes. 100%. 100%. 100%. And on the same side, on the right, there are many people that our religion has become, stopping white genocide or whatever it is that they think is going on. Why do humans need a religion? It's like a part of our evolution. You see all these things, like when people meditate, for instance, that it does change their mental state and it has impacts on them. Like this is what people will do. Like if you put a so for example, Lord of the Flies. So Lord of the Flies says that if you put kids on an island, they'll ultimately just resort to violence, and that they'll put off religion and science and leadership, a government, and just become violent. But I say that what happened was that if we just take the book at face value and assume that it's all correct, that they didn't put off religion, they just rejected that religion and created their own, and that they created a tribe where that was their religion. Like, this is the thing: you create a group of people, put them together. What they're going to do is they're going to find the set of beliefs that they have in common, and they're going to create traditions and rituals, and that's what they're going to do, and that's going to be their thing, and that's their religion. That's what people are wired by evolution to do, and that's why you will see it in literally every culture. You're insulting every human belief ever by saying that they need a false belief to keep social order. Well, I guess. Come on, you really think that people are that smart? They're not. On average, there's lots of things that we're really dumb about. I mean, come on. If it wasn't the case, there'd be no way to ever make money in the stock market. Hard enough. Hard enough that, it would only be worse if people were actually smart. Religion was created to make social order? No, I think that religion was created because we have a deep-seated need and desire to do those things, is what I think. Can't believe that they haven't stopped me yet. Come on. Just do it. Okay, thank you. I'm gonna do it again. It's at 93 now. You haven't sure. Oh, I'm out of water. Well, this is probably going to do something crazy, so I'm going to step away for a second and get myself more water, all right? Okay. You should know the harder you push, the more they will dig down. Once you have tripped someone's scale to being defensive, you're just wasting your time. He's totally right. It's very true. I am very much like that. Mm-mm-mm. I'm just seeing how silly they can get. Well, I do kind of feel like he said a couple of silly things. I do agree. No offense, bottom line. But I'm just the thing that concerns me, if we could go back to the original subject, the thing that concerns me is that you're coming out and saying in somebody else's chat channel that um, the Bible is predicting a war on Iran, and so we should be going short. I just that is such a like the issue here. I think that Yace is going like way further than you have to go. Like you hear that and you think, oh well, he believes in religion. I need to prove that religion is wrong. But really, the whole thing is like, how did he make that leap? How do you make the leap from okay, I believe in the Bible too. We need to short the market now. Like there's a whole bunch of intermediate steps in there that I'm like, where the hell are you getting this shit from? Like what? Uh, and don't give me a YouTube video. I'm gonna watch a 5-minute video, man. Should be able to read, cite sources. How do you know that this thing means Iran and that's just like because really what you're saying sounds kind of crazy to me. Once you accept the Bible, you accept a whole host of false beliefs, but he's going way no, he's going way beyond anything that's he might just be trolling us because it just sounds that ridiculous to me. It sounds that ridiculous. Here it's coming up again. Now, I wonder. I need to make a measure of how far from the line we are getting because eh, I don't know. They're reaching and they just aren't getting it. I'm trying to think, how did this play out yesterday? Because they're doing pretty similar stuff. Man. Oh, I really gotta go back. Okay, here it is. Oh no, you know what? It's not quite the same thing because okay. I am noticing that when it touches those areas, that it doesn't always do it the first time. It'll like flip back and forth twice before it goes. If you hold the Bible at a right angle, squint hard enough, you can make it say anything. I don't know. Okay, so what was the thing from the Department of Justice, by the way? Just some ISIS stuff. Yeah. I saw people on the Donald yesterday talking about it, and I was kind of thinking, I don't know if that's actually going to be what you guys think it is. Look, see, I put my order out there. What's this? That's a big order, 1,595. Okay. Okay, so now it's taking the opposite signal here for sure. Win long. No, let's not go into that. Okay. Yeah. Hmm. Not quite. Did that order disappear? No, I don't see it. Oh, is my tape busted? Oh, what the heck? Okay. I'm gonna close that. I left my software open overnight, and so it's probably doing a couple of weird things that normally wouldn't. Yes, and then 50 seconds. Try that and see what it does. So it looked to me like it just disappeared. Oh no, they traded into it. It's kind of funny that it did it, but now it tried to take a trade, but now they're getting a huge volume cluster there. There's some really big orders involved there. And look, it moved up, and there's another big one in 95. You think maybe somebody's coming in and saying that they finally had enough? About time. Well, now this actually is interesting because we're at a time period where they got the London close coming up. So I'm interested in why there would be such large orders getting involved just ahead of the London close. It looks like they're going to come down and trigger me. Actually, I'm going to up it a little bit. Okay, so you can see how when it hit that there was some people stopped out. That's interesting. The news squawk is just telling me that Donald Trump recorded a video that will be released later today. That's kind of weird. I don't know what possibly will be out on that. Could it be on the stimulus? Okay, Pelosi says it's important to come to an agreement on COVID-19 aid. Okay, cool. I guess that could be good. Oh, did I just get my connection reset there? Oh, you know what happened is I clicked clear total trades for all of them. Oops, it's okay. I right-clicked the trash can by accident. Okay. So now they're trying to push it. They're trying to defend that line, and they seem to be struggling there. See, if I was a buyer, I would let it come back to me to 33.90. You get all those shorts would take their thing, and then they'd get out, and you'd be able to push. You'd be able to bounce it again. It'd be a lot easier for you. I suppose that would be a slightly higher low, or it might be a slightly lower low on the pivots, and that might concern people though. So okay. Says Nancy Pelosi, all he ever wanted in the negotiation is to send out a check with his name printed on it. He's just again rebounding from a terrible mistake that he made yesterday, and the Republicans in Congress are going down the drain with him on that. No. Man. It's hard to see any clear, sane path on anything that he's doing, says on The View of Trump ending COVID relief negotiations, but then calling for standalone bills on stimulus checks, airlines, aid, and PPP. But the fact is that he saw the political downside. I don't understand. How can you not be able to pass those three things on their own? I really feel strongly that Nancy Pelosi is deceiving everybody, trying to say that it's all Donald Trump's fault, and when the reality here is that they had shit in there that was never going to get passed. They're negotiating hard because they think that they're going to win the election. I wouldn't go anywhere near the White House now, is what she says. They're not getting anything. This is sounding to me like they're not even going to get these standalone bills. Now, I'm not sure if the market cares about that, because the market seems to believe at the moment that, well, we'll just get more stimulus later. That's something else. Well, how are you guys doing over here? You still got a lot of people watching. I'm hoping I'm doing a good job for you guys here. Bail out for broke states is not CV stim. Yeah. It's not just that, BRT. There was all of this stuff with mail-in voting and stuff in there. Things that they know the Republicans aren't going to agree to. Things that I think make the elections less safe, less secure. Sorry. Things that I think make elections less secure. They're not going to pass that. How can they say all this stuff that she's saying with a straight face when that they can have that kind of stuff in their bill? It's kind of funny that they have over here, the Democrat demands are like, we want to make it so that we can completely rig every election from till the rest of time. And all Donald Trump wants is his name on a check. It's like, come on, then just give him the name on the check. I don't get it. I get it. I don't want to say I don't get it. I've gotten myself into the habit of saying I don't get it because I feel kind of clueless a lot lately, but no, I totally understand what's getting on. She's playing the game and people are falling for it. Where did the human race come from? Oh, that's a good question. Have you seen this? So there's this guy. I don't know. Maybe he's crazy, but he's really interesting to watch. On TikTok, and I think he has a YouTube channel too. And he shows all of this archaeological evidence. Like, he points out that, all of these cultures, they're ancient cultures, like really, really ancient cultures, but they all have the same masonry technique. And we're not 100% sure how they did it because there's no way that they would have the capability to move boulders that big and things like that. And he does a really good job of showing, like, okay, well, here's why archaeologists think that it's X. Well, when you really think about it, that might be a really silly assumption and we really don't know. And he has a wild theory. I mean, his whole thing is he's trying to prove a wild theory. And his wild theory is that there was actually pretty advanced civilizations in the world before the Ice Age. And it's just that pretty much all of the evidence of that got destroyed when huge floods from the glaciers and everything kind of took everything out. But it's super interesting. Why was I talking about that? Oh, talking about the origin of the human race. Because from what he's saying, he's kind of suggesting that intelligent, like, civilization has been around for thousands of years earlier than we originally thought, is his contention. Is really interesting. The guy has been debunked. I think that there's people have arguments with him, and there might be some things that he's wrong about, and there's probably some things that he's wrong about, and there's probably some things that maybe he's right about. But for the most part, he just provides factual things about it. He's like, here's this thing that this archaeological site. Here's the interesting things about it. Here's the mysteries about it that we haven't answered. Yeah. He's really entertaining, though. Let's find out if you care. Do you care about the truth? Not always. I'm telling you straight up, not always. And you don't either. Nobody does, really, if we were honest with ourselves. If the truth is not beneficial to us, we usually don't care. So this is curious, the way that it's behaving around that spot that I'm looking at. That time I wouldn't have even gotten 2 points on it. So the theory was, is there just enough movement around that area to get a good fill? And I think I have to say, well, maybe if I reduce the length of that I'm going for, but it seems like the behavior in that area is pretty random. Unless you are somehow catching the sweep. And in that case, you would really have to be using an algorithm. I think we learned something overall. I guess I was, because I did take a couple of those before we got into this, were trades like I was trying to make off of my regular system, but they want to go long. Even if I had gone off of that, I don't know if I would have gotten it on the long. So, yeah. Did you just say that you don't always care about the truth? No, no. Like this is the thing that you have to understand, is that human action is more powerful than the truth. And you can make things happen even if you have beliefs that are in a direct conflict with what the truth is, because action is stronger. And so there are going to be situations, like say politics or whatever, where you might know there's a certain thing and you still go against it. And if you've got enough people behind you, you can still make things turn out in your favor. You can stop it out. Do it. Do it, and then we'll go. This is one of the things that I think is a lot of people don't get, is that everybody seems to think that they're basing their actions off of what is truth and so on and so forth. But the reality is that none of us actually do. We make decisions and then we come up with logical reasons for them afterwards. Oh, you don't have to be like that. I didn't even see what he said. Well, it's time for me to shut things down anyway, so. Have you read The Righteous Mind? I've never heard of that book before. I have to look that up. Anyways, my point to earlier was that sometimes the truth will be in direct conflict with what you want, with what is beneficial to you, and then what do you do? And I think that in a situation like that, if you want something to happen, you don't necessarily care what the truth is. That's people. It sounded like that crazy guy wearing a sign on the corner. He was kind of saying some crazy things, I do admit. No offense, bottom line. He was a newer guy. He was here yesterday. He had said some good stuff, and then all of a sudden he went off on the crazy religious side. I don't know. Whatever. It's okay. Hey guys, it was still a good stream. It's still a good stream. Well, the stream itself was good. Trading was awful, and I expect my trading to be awful for quite some time. I don't know. Okay. Unless we find something new. Okay. I will see you guys tomorrow. In the meantime, stay profitable.